All right, everybody. Maybe this will help some other folks that have experienced the same issues that I have experienced with the Victorinox Swisstools. So I've got the Spirit X, which I will put up against the Arc any day of the week. I mean, the Arc does come from Leatherman, does come with Magna Cut, and it is more one-handed opening on all the tools. But as far as like the premium feel, and as long as the tool set here matches what you need, most people don't need bit drivers, maybe in their EDC. Maybe some do. That's fine. Then go with the Arc. If you don't, I think this is one of the best ones you can buy. For about 150 bucks, I got the Spirit X, and I love it. It's a super premium. It's nearly impervious to rust. It has a great tool set. The one issue that I've really had is getting the things opened. I have struggled with this, and you see my nails are ripped off. There's a split right there where it ripped down into the quick the other day, and my thumb was bleeding because I tore my thumbnail half off trying to open these things. These things have earned the reputation of being a nail breaker. And it's because the back springs are way too tight on some of these, and the nail nicks are way down in there, and you got to dig down in there. And especially if you were just like washing your hands or took a shower or fishing, doing something, swimming where your hands were wet, your nails are automatically softened. There's nothing you can do about that. And so when you dig into that, it would rip the nail off, which then means you have nothing to grab the thing with, and it's almost like you needed a screwdriver or another tool to open the damn thing. So I've been going back and forth on how to fix this, and I actually fixed it this morning. You notice now I can pinch it and open it without even using the nail nick. And I can open all of these now with ease. Same thing on the saw. Flip it to the other side. The scissors was a bitch getting open. That was the one that would break my nails the most. But now I can just pinch it, open it, no problem. Same thing with that. The Phillips screwdriver, open it with ease. Here's what I did. All of your back springs are right here along the back. Now, when you open this, so watch, these are all individual springs. See how they're kind of cut there? So when you go to open one, you see how that one starts to come out, right? You can see it moving in and out. Maybe I'll try this one. Maybe it'll show it a little better. But when you look at it, you can see that spring come back open, and then it goes back down as soon as you close that. So what happens is, it pushes it, and of course the spring wants to spring back. What you need to do is bend the springs a little. Now you have to do this carefully. It's not hard, but you just want to be careful. Because if you want that spring to basically be like less pressure, you want to actually bend the spring so that it takes the new bend, and maybe you want to put 0.5 millimeter or something in the bend. Well, you need to stretch the spring past the point you want. So if it always comes back here, you want to bend it back here so then it comes back there instead of there, right? So when you pull these blades out, and I did them all at the same time because it just made it easier than trying to get a little tiny screwdriver in there. So if I open these all up, you'll see that little lip right there, that it kind of acts as a blade stop, or this is the blade stop, but there's it's the half stop, whatever it is. When you open this, if you have this, you'll see what I'm talking about, even if I've got my terminology messed up. But what you do is you get these things all lined up, so that gap is there. And then you take a screwdriver and you insert it in that gap, and you twist it so that it starts pushing those springs up. I found it easier to kind of lay them like this on the desk and have this lay off the edge of the desk on my thigh. And that way it keeps these from closing because it's against the table. Imagine the table's right here. And I came in and just inserted that screwdriver into that gap so that one side of the screwdriver bites on the spring and the other side bites on that little shelf that is there on the backs of those blades. And I went down the line and just twisted. Here's where you want to be careful. Don't go with a giant screwdriver too much, because once you bend these back, if you go too far, the blades are going to be too loose and wobbly and they won't stay closed properly, and that's going to be a problem. So you want to do it a bit at a time, but you can basically overstretch those springs because they only come up a little bit from the blade. Again, if you look at that side right there, you see how it goes. Well, all these other ones are open. So let's see where the spring is, and it comes out. And then right here, it kind of drops back down 1 millimeter or so, and that's when it locks into place. You don't want them to be like way the hell out, because in order to bend them back the other way, you have to bend them past that point. You can't without pulling out that rivet and disassembling it and bending them where you want, and then having to get a new rivet and a press and however you're going to put it back together. So don't go too far. But basically pull these things out. Right now there's nothing for me to grip on. There's no gap for me to get the screwdriver into there. So that's where you need to pull the tools out. And when you do that, see that line there, and then there's like a cutout. As soon as you get that up there, now you've got the gap. Now, this surface right there, gotta get this damn thing to focus right. This little surface there, there's a little bit for it to grip on, and that's when you can push this in, and you can grab it and move it up and down, so you do each springs, and then go to the other side and do it that way. And you can basically, a little bit at a time, stretch those springs out. So now, my tool that before I could not open with my thumbnail, it would rip it out. I can just grab them now and open them. They stay shut. They're not going to open. But I do have the ability now to grab that. Even this one was another bitch because it's a rounded edge and it's not perpendicular. It's at an angle, so your thumbnail would slide off the thing. There's nothing to really catch it. And when it took that much force, you just end up ripping your thumbnail off. So now I can get to all these. I can pinch open that blade. I can open that. I can get to these middle ones that were a real pain in the ass and open them. No problems, even though I have like no thumbnails right now. That is how you fix this. I didn't want to try to loosen. I didn't think it was so much it was being pinched here. And I didn't want to try to loosen this because you might bend some of the metal, or if you loosen the rivet, then you get blade wobble. I figured it was with that damn back spring, because people have reported that the new versions of this, since they started making the Spirit MX version, which was where they put they made this one-handed opening by putting this nubbin on there. I didn't like that one because it kind of stuck out and it would catch on your pocket. But I think they realized when they're trying to open it one-handed, it's a weird movement with your thumb as opposed to being able to use your whole hand and open it. They realized, ooh, those springs are too tight. It's really digging into people's thumbs. It's not working, so they softened the springs. So I think the new ones, because I tried one in the store, it was fairly easy. It was, well, it felt like this. So using the screwdriver technique with the blades partially open to give you that shelf so it grips and has something to twist on, now it is perfect. And now I would put this toe-to-toe with the Leatherman Arc. As far as quality, fit, and finish, it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit thinner, it's sleeker, it doesn't have anything to snag on your pockets coming out. If you don't mind having a one-handed, not having one-handed opening, and you don't care about Magna Cut versus whatever this steel is, this is more premium, but in some ways I feel like this is the better tool. But if you want one-handed opening and you need a bit driver and you really want that next step up to, a truly premium steel in a one-handed opening device, there have been some problems with these bits breaking, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. This is really more about how to fix the Victorinox, so I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. We'll do another more lengthy head-to-head on these, and we'll do some cutting through metal and wood and wire and stuff and see which of these seems to be holding up better. But that's how you relax that spring. I now have no issues opening any of these tools, whereas before you're like, and then you're like, oh, fuck, I just broke my goddamn nail off and my thumb's bleeding, and I got to rip the rest of the nail off. It's like, so I wasn't carrying this one. I was carrying the Leathermans. I was like, this is an amazing tool, and I love the construction of it. But I'm like, if I can't use it without it physically causing me pain or not able to open it because I got to wait till my nails reharden after my shower because they're a little soft, now it works perfectly. And no, this is not because I'm a pussy and my nails are soft. It's a very common complaint with these tools, is that they've earned the reputation as being potential nail breakers. And they use that term for the same reasons that I experience. But now, it is a wonderful tool. So that's how you fix it. Get yourself a screwdriver, get it in that gap, and do it a bit at a time. Test it, get it to where you want. Don't overdo it, because if you do it too far and the blade's kind of floppy, because there's not enough spring tension, there's no way really, without really knowing what you're doing and drilling out and then finding a hydraulic press to re-rivet stuff. So just don't. If you go too far, you can't go back. If it's not enough, if you're like, it's still a little stiff, then go bend it a little more until you get it right in that sweet spot where it's held in, nothing's rattling, nothing's moving, but you can reach in there and get it. So anyway, there's your tip from Uncle Dave.